Episode number 24, we're going to round out the advanced series. It's been a 1, 2, 3 punch. Step number 1 that we've been talking about in order to move from where you are to where you want to be as you get into the new year. And we've been talking about why do so many goals and dreams just fizzle so fast? Okay. You're going to have to get the rewind because I'm not going to go through all of it. I will say this. Step number 1, the big thing is you got to decide where you want to go. For all of the talk about people being held back by the man, I mean, and let's just shoot straight.
The man.
Yeah, I mean, gals do it, guys do it.
That's called an excuse.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but... I mean, let's just move it off of the excuse lane.
Okay.
To the. How many people have actually even decided where they want to go? You know, if we lined up, this is just kind of a made up thing. This is not in the notes. Like I got this big thing of notes right here. Like you can hear it, you know, all that. But this is not in the notes. If you lined up, let's just say 10 guys, and said, "Hey, man, what would be the optimal thing for you in health right now? Like, what would be the win this year? Like, you got all year to do it. What would it be?"
Yeah.
I mean, how many guys would actually have a thing?
I don't think they would have a definitive goal.
Yeah, they know.
They have an idea.
Yeah, but most of us haven't really thought about it.
No.
Yeah. Or said, "Hey, how's it going in your faith life? You got a goal in that?" I hadn't even thought about it. I mean, it's kind of, well, I may go to church Sunday or I may not, or I'm going to get in a small group. Or I'm going to, what do you want it to look like? Or is there a goal in your relationship with your spouse? Is there a goal with your kids? What do you want that to look like? Is there a goal with, you just fill in the blanks, all these areas. Financially, is there a goal this year? Is there a goal, a target related to work? Is there a big thing that you're moving towards? And I think that for most of us, there's not. So step number 1 is you really got to define or decide, I think is the word we use, decide where you want to go. You can insert your own word. You get the idea. Where do you want to go? Number 2. Step 2 is you've got to get radical clarity and define where you are right now, because we got to close that gap between where we want to be and where we are. Like the roadmap that we've got going forward has got to connect those two. And that leads us all to step number 3. Consequently, there is one episode of the podcast on each of those steps, so you can go get it in the rewind. Step number 3, today we're going to talk about you got to do the daily work. I know, probably we're waiting for something more banging than that, like a bigger reveal. But at some point, you just gotta pick up the hammer and hit the nail.
It's called the grind, man.
You gotta
grind.
The grind. You gotta grind it out. Before we talk about grinding it out, I will say this. Take a peek down in the show notes. So there is this planner that I use. It's called the Advanced Planner, just like the title of this kind of mini 3-episode podcast drop. The Advanced Planner is the tool that I use every single day to help myself navigate from where I am to where I want to be. And it asks all these questions in the beginning of it. Like it asks questions like, hey, over the next 90 days, what are some of the resources that I need to acquire and learn from? Over the next 90 days, what would be, because it's a quarterly planner, what would be the win in my relationship with my spouse? What would be the win in fitness? What would cause me to look back and go, hey, these 90 days have been a success? Again, not to change my value or identity as a person, but to go, hey, yeah, I'm making some progress. And you get to decide if the win is, hey, no change. If I just enjoy the next 90 days, okay, you get to decide. If the win is just waking up, and I get it, sometimes you're in a season and all you need to do is just make it through the next season. Man, good enough, but do it with intentionality not just going through by default. All right, so here's the big reason. Let's just kind of move on into it. The big reason that most dreams don't get done, most goals don't get achieved, it's this. We get attached to the idea, not to the implementation strategy. We keep the dream in our head. We don't move it past the heart because we can be so excited about it and into our hands. You could even say it like this. We get stuck being dreamers. We don't transform into being doers. And so you've got to move into implementation. You got to move into action. And that means this. You've got to get really practical and then proactive about those dreams. Let me tell you what I mean. And this is going to excite you or it's going to frustrate you. I'll give you an example. I've got a friend named Rob. I get to help Rob with some of his coaching. He teaches people how to flip houses. Rob is my friend that was homeless. I think the technical word is unhoused now or houseless. He would say homeless. He was living in an old Mitsubishi Eclipse in the Target parking lot down 280. So when you go over there in your Buffalo Wild Wings, where my boys like to eat, you just kind of walk out Buffalo Wild Wings, turn your head to the right, look at the old Best Buy. What is it now? Is it Dick's Sporting Goods? Is that? Yeah, I think it is currently. You don't know because you live like way over somewhere else.
Do not go over there that often.
If you start walking towards Dick's Sporting Goods, like boom, right there, parking spot, that's where he lived. That's it. And there would be times where he would sneak down to the apartments kind of behind Buffalo Wild Wings. He had a friend that lived there. He knew where the friend kept the spare key. And so he would go into the friend's apartment to take a shower, to use the restroom, with the friends at work, because Rob don't have a job. Friend has a job. And one time he went in and the friend was there. And so he had to dive into the closet. Oh. And then he got stuck there. And man, he had to use the bathroom and he stuck there all night. Oh, could you imagine that?
No.
Yeah.
Pain.
Boom. Okay, so that's my friend Rob. He bounced from that, bounced from addiction, bounced through. In fact, he's got this book about it. I'm going to put a link down in the show notes to Rob's book. I got to make a note right here on my. Okay, he and his wife Shannon wrote a book, and now Rob teaches people. They own a very successful real estate brokerage in town. So they went from unhoused to selling houses. I mean, you've got to see the redemption in that, correct? I mean, and they use it, to help so many other people find a career that brings scheduling freedom, to where you can do the things that you need to do to raise your family. So, goodness. Yeah, this week, he and I are actually going to tag team teach people how to flip houses. So I don't flip houses, but I get to tag team teach it with him as I helped him put together the resources. All right, so I'm talking with Rob one day. Links to Rob's stuff down in the show notes, by the way. That was kind of a free rabbit trail that we just went off on. One day we're talking and I say, hey, Rob, what is like the big goal? This is the step one thing. Okay, decide where you want to go. What is it? We didn't use that language. This is what it was. He says, I want to make $1 million off this stuff. Now, not off the house flipping, not off the brokerage. Those are other independent income streams. I want to make $1 million off this stuff because I want to be able to give away a lot of money. So that's what's driving that dream. So we had to define where we are now. Where we are now is a big, fat goose egg. At the time that he created this dream. Because we were just about to launch it. This stuff kind of existed on paper and half of it existed digitally with assets and videos that we were pulling together. But, this wasn't really anywhere. And so we had to build that bridge to get there and start doing the work. And when we did that, we had to get practical and proactive. Here's what we did. Rob and I sat down with a spreadsheet. You don't have to have a spreadsheet. Well, if you're doing business, you might want a spreadsheet.
Spreadsheets are great. If
you're losing weight, you might want a spreadsheet. I did when I was losing the weight. Here's what we did. we ask the question, and I'm telling you this with this much detail because you won't need this much detail. But if I tell it to you in the most robust form, everything else is simple. All right, what offers do we have? What are we selling? We've got a book. We've got some courses. We've got coaching. We've got a community. We've got, 4 or 5 things that people can actually buy. Next question. How much do those offers cost? Next question. Based on how much they cost, how many of them in various combinations do we need to sell in order to reach a total of $1 million? Right? And so we can hit that in multiple ways, but we actually need to get clarity. We've got to get clarity on that bridge to get from where we are to where we're going to be. This was kind of the end of the previous episode, and we're going, we got to reverse engineer that bridge. Now we know that not everybody who sees that offer buys it. Just like everybody that walks and tries on the pair of shoes doesn't buy that pair of shoes. Just like everybody that tries on the shirt doesn't buy it. Just like everybody that goes past the restaurant, doesn't stop, doesn't pull in, doesn't get a taco. Just like everybody who, you fill in the blank. So how many leads do we need to get on that sales page in order to create a buyer? Does that make sense? So I'm just going to make up a number. If 3 out of 100 buy. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And if we need 300 buyers to equal $1 million in the combination, I'm just, again, made up numbers.
Yeah.
We actually built the spreadsheet. I mean, it was fascinating when we did it. And we saw that it wasn't so insurmountable once we built it. Like, rather than it being overwhelming, it was actually like, oh, man,
we can do this.
We've got a roadmap. We can actually, now we're not there, but
chip away.
Yeah, we can actually, okay. So if 3 out of 100 buy and we need 300 buyers, we need 30,000 leads.
Yep.
So then the question is, where do we get those leads? How do we get in front of those people? How do we get that many people to actually see? And once we started doing that, that question popped up. This is what was so stinking funny. He was at a mastermind event in Vegas, and that question that was asked of me way back, first episode of the series. So what are we in, 24 now? Go back to episode 22. And remember the guy that was the money manager that said, hey, what do you need?
What do you need?
Somebody asked Rob, what do you need? He says, he filled in the blank of X amount of leads that was on our spreadsheet, and somebody helped him get double that amount of leads instantly.
Oh my gosh.
They're okay, I've
already got the list.
I've got a list that I'll give you.
Whoa, of 60,000.
Well, I mean, I'm making up numbers for the podcast that are very round numbers.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I'm
whatever it
your
was,
way.
yes, it was the equivalent of the 60,000 if he needed 30.
That's insane.
Yeah,
insane.
You go, what? But it all happened because decide where you want to go. Step number 1. Number 2, define where you are. He had a goose egg. Now I guarantee you're listening right now. You're not in a worse situation than he was. Okay, now we start building that bridge. We've got clarity. We know what we need. We know what the next steps are. Somebody ask, oh, there it is. You'll be shocked. Got a text thread going on. I'm going to pull it out of my pocket and see if I can, it'll take a minute.
Self-filtering right now.
It'll take a minute to get to it. I was going to look and see if I could find it super quick, but no, here it is.
Well, the whole story is God's provision, though. When you're actively pursuing what you've been called to do, His provision comes through, and all you have to do is ask. We're so afraid to ask.
Man, I'm sliding down through here. Let me see if I can find it. And let's see. All right, where's boom, boom, boom. If I can find it, if I can get to it. Yeah, here's one of the guys on the text thread. He says, hey, prayers needed this morning. I need to make a decision. I received a job offer at another, insert the industry that he works in. I'm not going to say it because, somebody might know. Okay.
Yeah.
The offer is 45% higher than my current salary.
Yo.
Same benefits, smaller commute, bigger, more stable company in the same industry. I don't really see a downside to stay where I am, so he's asking for prayers.
Feels like a slam dunk, right?
So everybody's chiming in. It's 4 guys in here. I asked, he was like, why did you take the interview in the first place? sounds like an odd question, but that might reveal your answer right there.
Boom.
So he goes, well, he describes it. I was like, well, that seems like part of your answer. There's a reason you took that interview. And then I spelled out, I'm like, here's my thought. You were probably praying through the decision the entire time. So if you go back to the interview time, when you left the interview, were you for this job or against it? Were you praying about it? Were you not? If you were, and all of a sudden God hands you this, you've been praying for it the whole time. He's like, yeah, thank you. That made it very easy.
Absolutely.
It's like, why the pushed prayers in the morning of? Like, we were praying for it. They offered it. It's not bad to go revisit the prayer, but man, you start having these dreams, defining where you are, start building the bridge. You get practical, you get proactive, and then you start stepping forward.
Well, it makes me think of his situation in particular, makes me think of the coin flip theory. You ever heard the coin flip theory?
No, but this is going to be good.
Well, it's very quick, but it makes a lot of sense. You're faced with
heads or tails.
Heads or tails. Two decisions.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, I don't know what to do. But the second the coin goes in the air, you know exactly what you want to do.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you're projecting, I hope
I don't get it. I'm hoping I do get it.
So sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah. Man, you haven't.
Feet to the fire. Yeah, it's quick.
Here's what Rob and I were learning, going back to his spreadsheet. You've got to learn to separate the lag measures from the lead measures, and we often get these backwards. Okay, so let me define what it is. A lag measure is the result. A lead measure is the daily work you do that gets the result. So if you're trying to write a book, I mean, that's a real example that I had. Writing a book, my lead measure was, okay, I've got 2 months to write this book because in the third month, I need to edit it and get it out. And in the fourth month, I'm going to release it at a live event. So the lag measure is releasing the final book. The lead measure is, hey, I've got to write 1 chapter per week during those 2 months. It's going to be a 7-chapter book. Plus, I need an introduction. Each chapter is going to be 15 to 20 pages. That means every day that I'm working, I need to do 3 pages, new, at least. Anything over that doesn't give me the day off the next day. It just means, oh, hey, it's gravy. I'm a little bit ahead. And every day I'm going back to the start of that chapter just to make sure the new stuff connects with the old stuff. That's the lead measure. Okay, and then you do the work. Eventually, the lag measure shows up. Think about it in Rob's instance. 30,000 leads results in the lag measure of $1 million. The leads are actually leads. Okay, the leads are the daily work. Here's another way to say it. Nick Saban was noted for doing something like this. The scoreboard's not most important. The next snap is what's most important. If everybody does their job consistently on the next snap, everybody does their job and elevates the team, the scoreboard will reflect the snaps. The snaps are the lead measure. The scoreboard is the lag measure. Okay? So the lead measures are the causes. The lag measures are the consequences.
The results.
They're the results. Yeah. And so often we get enamored with the results, but we forget the results are results of work. It's the outcome of the stuff we've been doing.
Which is why he calls it the process.
It's the process of eventually getting, it doesn't just automatically do it. John Maxwell, noted, life coach, writer. I mean, how many books has he written? Like 90, 100. Yeah. I mean, he's got a library of his own books. He says something related to this. Look at a person's daily actions and you can see what they're becoming. I mean, Randy said it a couple weeks ago on the episodes. We are the result of our habits. Those habits, what we do, doing the work, that is the lead measure that leads to the lag because it comes behind. It's the outcome. It's not the cause. It's the consequence. Here's what it means. It means your schedule, you really need to get the planner that's down. There's a free one. Just download it. It's in the show notes. Or you can buy the one I use. Your schedule is like a checkbook for your time, for your energy, for your focus. And the problem, another Maxwell quote, is so many of us have these uphill dreams. So we want to get to a higher place, a better place. Very few people look around and go, I wish things were worse off for me than they are right now. I'm sure there's one. But uphill dreams don't work with downhill habits. You don't drift into an elevated dream. And if you're not doing the work or not willing to do the work, you got to really think, hey, is this actually my dream? I was at a convention for a business that I was involved with one time. Maxwell was actually on the stage, and he said something like this. How many of you take care of a rental car? And what he meant was like, not, I'm not going to crash it. Like the infamous Seinfeld episode where he says, give me the insurance because I'm going to bring that car back in a suitcase. I mean, like how many people, have you ever washed a rental?
No.
Have you ever changed the oil on the rental or checked the tire pressure? You might have checked the tire pressure if you thought you ran over something, but you didn't rotate the tires.
No.
You didn't buy new tires for the rental. You don't maintain things that you rent. You maintain and invest in things that you own. Now, when we're growing up, it's very natural to have borrowed, or you could use the word rented dreams. When I grew up, my mom and dad thought, man, it'd be a great idea for me to take piano. I would love piano. Well, it was a borrowed, rented dream. I mean, it was good that they exposed me to that for sure. After about a year of it, practicing an hour a day, how do you practice chopsticks and all that nonsense? Well, in fairness, I never did chopsticks.
Same.
But how do you practice the little simple things for an hour in scales? I wanted to quit.
Same.
And I did. And then later on, I was in college. I went back and on my own, I took piano lessons. And I took guitar. And I learned, hey, I want to be proficient. Okay? That was the difference between, and I paid to do it. That was the difference between owning the dream. I did it on my terms and it being imported. And it's grand for parents to expose their kids to stuff. I mean, we've put kids in sports and said, hey, try it. If you don't like it, you don't have to keep doing it. But try it and see. And move to something else. Change, that's long term though. People don't take action on borrowed or rented dreams. They don't do the lead measures. They don't do the lead actions that would get to the lag measure unless it's truly their own. Does that make sense? And so if you consistently don't show up to do insert the metric of whatever would be to get the dream, if you're not showing up, and meet people all the time, I want to write a book. I'm going to write a book. You don't show up and get in the chair. Man, you either need a new way to do it or it's really not your dream. You just thought it would be good. You consistently not showing up to the gym, man, like you're not motivated. You go, I lack motivation. Hey, it just might not be your dream. And that's okay. Maybe it's just you're borrowing it because other people dreamed this for you, or you thought because of social pressure or because of whatever, this was supposed to be yours. If you own it, you'll show up and do the work. And sometimes that just comes down to a matter of timing. Years ago when I was losing the weight, I've referred to that a couple times, but it's a perfect metaphor for me because I tried to lose weight before and just never would because I would give up after a couple days. Or I'd get tired of it. Or, I'm going to eat the whole cake. Not the whole piece, the whole cake. Or fill in the blank. At some point, it was actually a dream that I was owning. And I'd set it down and say, I'm going to lose 2 to 2.5 pounds a week. The exercise and the certain foods are going to be the lead measures that'll get to the lag measure of the weight. So the scale was the lag measure. It's the result. Over the long haul, you think about 2 to 2.5 pounds a week. Hey, in 12 weeks, 3 months, I'm going to lose 30 pounds. Here's what's interesting. After 3 months, I remember looking at houses. We were thinking about moving, and I was in the house of someone that I had met before, interacted with before, actually was at a lunch table with me with a very small group of people. I had no idea. They were selling their house. I walked in the house, didn't recognize me. Because, I'd cut my hair a little bit different, not much, grown out a beard, lost 30 pounds. I just looked. But the progress from day to day was imperceptible in the moment. Be sore, be tired. I mean, that's the way it is when you're doing stuff. It's imperceivable from moment to moment. There is always, always, always changing metaphors again. This long time between sowing the seed and then reaping the harvest. And the habits are the thing that over time, the cultivation that gets you to the harvest. Yeah, so y'all ever farmed? Or you done a garden or thing? I mean, you wouldn't think about going out there and planting a crop and then just leaving it.
No.
Or a seed for plants or whatever. You would go out there, you'd water it, you'd cultivate, you'd show up. You'd know this thing is going to die. People even joke about that. Man, I kill my house plants because you don't take care of them. Well, I mean, that happens to dreams. If we don't do the daily work, which often is so small and seemingly insignificant, the habit always leads to the harvest. Here's another layer to it. Did you know that every plant has a different harvest time? And not only a different harvest time per plant, within the same plant, there's a range. So I looked this up on Google, and because you can trust everything.
Everything you can Google, yeah.
The internet says Abraham Lincoln. So cultivation time for vegetation. So we're talking about vegetables vary significantly by plant type, with some crops taking 45 to 60 days from seed to harvest, like spinach or summer squash, basically the stuff you don't want. Others, 3 to 6 months. It seems like the stuff you like actually takes longer. There's a lesson in there somewhere. That's a meme or a social media post. Notice this, factors like the starting method. So if you started with a seed or a transplant, factors like environmental conditions, temperature, light, specific plant genetics, like per plant, all play a role.
Soil.
Well, that's environmental.
What's in your water? Yeah.
So all of this weighs in just on plants. And I think it's true. I mean, some people just lose weight faster. Some people just write books quicker. Some people just launch businesses at a higher level and make more income. Some people, but it doesn't mean like you can't live to your full potential in each area that God's foreordained for you. And it doesn't mean you got to be on the same timeline. Now, I was looking here on this. Notice this, tomatoes, 55 to 90 days from transplant to first fruit, depending on the variety and specific conditions, 55 to 90 days. Your dream might be a 55-day tomato plant. Mine might be a 90. Lettuce, some can be 50 days, some can be 80 days. Man, you might be an 80-day lettuce. Mine, or the person you're comparing yourself to, might be a 50. And there's so many factors. There's this verse in Mark where Jesus has just finished telling the parable of the sower and the seeds. And he says, a farmer goes, he does his work, he plants, he harvests. Basically, the dirt does its work and the seed sprouts. And there's this line in there that says, he himself does not know how, But when the harvest comes, he goes and picks it up. How did it happen? He doesn't know how. He did all the work. He cultivated it, but he does not know how. And our tendency is to go, we're going to go crack the seed open, or to yank and pull the stem up, or stretch the leaves on the plant. I know it sounds ludicrous. You wouldn't do it with the plant, but then we start doing it with dreams, and we forget so many factors. One day I was my friend. Yeah, I don't think I should say his name. He wouldn't mind me saying his name, but right now he's in the Coast Guard and he's deployed. We were talking on the phone the other day, and I was like, "Man, you're not home. Where are you?" He's like, "Well, I'm at." And then he started talking. I was like, "Hey, don't feel pressure to tell me anything that you can't tell me." He goes, "Well, I can tell you where I'm at, but I can't tell you." So I'll leave it blank. But it's a close enough friend, though I was talking to him while he's deployed. And close enough to where when I built the tiny house, the addition onto my house, we're walking outside and he asked me, he's like, "Man, how much did all this cost?" And I told him.
Yeah.
So he felt close enough to me to ask me how much it cost. I felt close enough to just, it cost, just like if you asked me, "Man, how much was that cup of coffee?" It's $3. That's just a different, how much did this cost? I told him. And then he kind of deflates. He says, "Oh man." And he gets down on where he's at. He's just done what we said in the previous episode, where he's defined himself based on where he's at with his capacity to add on or renovate a house based on a number that I tossed out, that he was completely fine with before he found out. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. So I remember talking, he's like, "Man, I don't know if I'm just feel so behind." He felt confident enough to tell me that. It's like, dude, you're not behind, you're 10 years younger than me. And so I've had 10 more years to acquire wisdom, to acquire wealth, which is not really wealth.
Yeah,
it was
resources.
We're in a different stage of life. I mean, realistically, and if you look at the trajectory of where I was 10 years ago, you are ahead of where I was 10 years ago. So in 10 years from now, you will be farther along than I. Now, so you go back to the seed and you look at all these conditions. What season of life are you in? And you look at it honestly and go, well, is this just providentially where I am? And it's just a call for patience and persistence, or am I actually procrastinating on my dream? Am I not doing the lead measures? No, he was doing the lead measures, right? But there's so many factors that come in. What do? You do the daily work. You do the habits. The habits lead to the harvest. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Let's close out like this. My prayer is that you would gain confidence and clarity as you step forward into your dreams doing the daily work. Because Paul tells us in Galatians 6:9, don't grow weary in doing good. Oh, and you're doing good work in your family. You're doing good work in your finances. You're doing great work in your fitness. You're doing fantastic in the factory, in the field that you've been given to labor in and to earn an income. You're doing fantastic in your faith and in your friendships, your relationships, and the deep connections. Don't grow weary in doing good. Continue on, he says, because it's promised that you will reap a harvest in due time. And latch on to what the Apostle John prayed. 3 John 2, when he prayed, brothers and sisters, my prayer for you is that you would be blessed and that you would prosper in, here's what he said, all things. You see it? New year ahead, new start, grace, peace. Let's talk soon.